Welcome to Interesting Ideas. I'm Stan Houston. Hey, here we go. Shave and a haircut, 2 bits. Now, do any of you know what that means? Besides the fact that obviously there's Stan being old again. Well, that's true. That's an old expression. Shave and a haircut, 2 bits, and actually it is a musical note, kind of a sounder and kind of an ender. And in fact, there's a whole story that you could look up if you would even care about the musical expression shave and a haircut, 2 bits. So if you're interested, you might check that out. And I'm going to, because I love to find stories of where words and sounds, because that's the business I'm in, where they came from. So maybe you'll want to do it with me. In fact, maybe some of you will get right down and go stanhouston@gmail.com. I will tell you about shave and a haircut, 2 bits. But my title today is I have to get a shave and a haircut every day. Shave and a haircut every day. And why do I do that? And what does that say about maybe how we should learn to do some very important morning routines? Just some thoughts on this Thursday, this disruption day, it will happen, about shave and a haircut, 2 bits, and shave and a haircut every day. That's the program for today, and it begins right now. One of the interesting stories that I picked up, now this is, I think, true, but it was kind of heard. It's one of those kind of legend, maybe it's an urban myth type thing, but let me tie some pieces together. When my daughter Megan decided that if you can make it in New York City, you can make it anywhere. She wanted to be a writer, a publisher, and so if you want to be a writer and a publisher, you have to go to New York City, which was at that time when she graduated, and it's hard to believe it's a number of years since that, probably over 20 years ago. She went to New York City and left Minnesota, and she hasn't returned, and that's where she lives and made her career and did very, very well. And she actually just began literally at the bottom. When she was in Minneapolis, St. Paul, there was a Barnes & Noble, and so part of the last couple years in college, that's where she worked, and she made good friends with the people at Barnes & Noble. And so when she went to New York, where do you start? Well, there's a Barnes & Noble at that, and the big one in Union Square in New York City, and she got a job there. And so that's where she worked for a while. But however, then eventually she knew around, and the bookstore in the city was, and I guess it still is, but it obviously has lost a bit of its cachet, was a store called Rizzoli's. And it was the place where the celebrities and the class and the elite, and it was a gorgeous, old-fashioned, Gothic cathedral type almost bookstore, and there were all kinds of books there. There's 3 or 4 stories. It was part of the New York experience to go to Rizzoli's, and she got a job there, and she was really good there. In fact, she had just as much book sense as anyone there, but she also had a little bit of business and savvy, and she wasn't afraid to take action and get things done. And as a result, they gave her a number of responsibilities, and in fact, she was the one. And this is always the one that has the important job and the dangerous job. She was oftentimes the one who had to close the shop at night. And of course, that's a big responsibility. What do getting the money, getting it in the safe, or getting it into the armored truck, and making sure super sure that there are nobody around, no one's hiding in the bathrooms or any place like that. That was part of her job, and of course then she had to make her way home through the subways and byways and streets of New York City to get back to her little modest apartment, which was located not in the rich area, but, way down in Brooklyn. So that was her life. She worked really hard. Eventually, she became her own writer and was a major writer and publisher, and went at that point. Now, supposedly, and I'm trying to check it out, that one of the persons who wanted a personal book shopper was and I'm checking this out with Megan again to make sure I got it right, but the story is that one of the persons who bought books regularly was the mobster, the mob leader, John Gotti. He was just one. There were a number of famous people who, they didn't go book shopping. They would call Rizzoli's, and Rizzoli's, of course, would get the book for them. And some of them would come in. I think one time she said that Elton John did come in, and she helped him find the books he wanted. So she had that experience, and that was a part of her growing up, and I want her to kind of write a little story about that, but she doesn't take those kind of suggestions too well from me. She wants to be her own person on that. But the reason was I had read somewhere that John Gotti was so meticulous about his appearance that he literally had his own personal barber, of course, and every day. And now it used to be that shave and a haircut, that's what you went to the barber for, get a shave and a haircut. And shave and a haircut. 2 bits, which was a quarter, so you can tell how old that song was. And that was quite common. That's what men of the world did. They may not have gotten a haircut every day, but they would get their shave every day. And well, John Gotti was old-fashioned, and supposedly every day he sat down, and his barber would come in, and of course. Maybe he did it for some of his friends too, but he obviously wanted to trust his barber and trust the guy who's cutting his hair and obviously carrying the blade for a shave. And he had it done every day. And so he always looked nice. He was always trim, and no nose hairs, ear hair, just no fuzz, perfectly shaved and haircutted every day. Well, the reason I'm having a good time with this is, as some of you have seen my appearance, that's exactly what I have to do every day. Very consciously, I have no hair. Now, you can say, well, do you shave your head, or are you bald, or what? And, of course, I'd just say, what do you think? And you can probably guess. But either way, I have learned that if I want to maintain this appearance, I have learned the discipline of shaving my head every day. Carefully, but I've got a system down, but it still takes time. And then I don't want to have any facial hair, and there's a good reason for that. I've had a beard in the past, and I've had a number of times had beard, but I don't have a beard now, and there's a very good reason for that, and I can talk about that. But I don't have a beard in any way now. And so I then have to shave very carefully. And so every day, as part of my routine, I do shave and a haircut. What people will tell you who have well-organized lives is that starting with a morning routine that is almost the same every day is a significant way to be more effective. Some of the celebrity leaders do this, actually say they have the same breakfast, same healthy breakfast every day. Now, maybe they'll change, for a special day or something, but they have a special breakfast or just the same breakfast every day. And as having their clothes laid out the night before, or their valet taking care of that, all of that stuff is part of the morning routine. Well, the reason I'm just talking about this is because one of the things I'm trying to do, and I'm finding that as we get older, we should be much more aware of it because we tend to get a little more forgetful from things, is the ability to have a strong morning routine is very, very helpful. 6 o'clock, I grab my walking stick and I'm off for a mile and a half around the little lake. That's just what I do. And I have found that to be very, very helpful. And so there are things that I have found that have made me, I believe, a little more effective. They certainly have been good for me, is to have a morning routine besides shave and a haircut every day. Now, that's it for me. What I would love to hear from you is what morning routines would you also suggest? Now, I'll tell you, obviously, I have a morning meditation routine. I'm very clear about that, and I could give you more thought about that, but I sit still quietly. Just sit still quietly. Certain place, close to the same time, every day. Try and make a point of that. What are some of the morning routines that you have found helpful and useful? And I would love to talk about that. By the way, we may talk about shaving a haircut 2 bits sometime, just as a point of interest. But think about that. Just a short conversation today, but I would love to hear. And by the way, when you remember that you are always in a position of giving leadership to others, the way you start your day can be a very significant thing to teach others, to help them get the day. You know, the old early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise, Ben Franklin. Well, there's more than just the rhyme to that, obviously, a healthy man or a healthy woman. But finding, and this is a term that I'd like to use, there are certain rhythms of life that we need to discover and work at. There are rhythms of life. And obviously the life that keeps us too busy or disturbs our rhythms is not good for us. We are made to be creatures with rhythms, with patterns, with principles, with certain actions and behaviors, certain ways of thinking and of not thinking, of working hard and resting. So perhaps during this summertime would be a good time for you to revisit some of the morning routines you go through some of the patterns of life that you do every day, and use this as kind of perhaps a re-examination, refreshment time, and saying, this is where I'm going to make the second half of 23 better. I'm going to enjoy getting back into some rhythms of life that are helpful and useful and graceful. Some rhythms of life that are helpful, useful, and graceful and graceful. And I hope you caught the double meaning. I'm Stan Houston. This has been Interesting Ideas, and thank you for your time. We'll be right back. I have just completed, I am doing a weekly 1 hour course on better living, better selling. And we just produced a course. It's 55 minutes. And if you want to know more about it, we'll tell you about it. Just contact me. And it is how to begin and give a great speech. Captivating convictions, captivating statements, how to start and give a great speech. And I think you'll learn a whole lot from it in 55 minutes. Maybe it's 57, but always under an hour. And now I'm creating one which will be called Storytelling is the Only Way to Sell Things. Sell services. Sell yourself. Things, services, ideas, and you. Storytelling is the only way to be good at selling. And that's what we'll be talking about. And we can help you in your business. We have some good ideas about how you can make your mark in the marketplace by learning how to market yourself, how to live what we call the marketing life. So reach out to me, stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. Also, remember, the reason I do this radio is because I'm going to help you get on the radio, because that's how you will grow in ideas, influence, impact, and income. Remember, ideas, influence, impact, and greater income. Take care. We'll be back next time. I think that'll be probably the weekend. Maybe tomorrow. We'll see what the world brings your way and my way. Till then, bye for now.